So, have you ever found yourself wrestling with that feeling, that persistent unease, or maybe wondered what really unlocks profound peace, genuine freedom?
Yeah, these are huge questions, aren't they? Really central to just being human. And today we're actually diving deep into an ancient text that offers some remarkably precise answers.
We are. We're exploring the Mahānidānasuttaṃ. It's a key text from the Pali Canon, specifically from the Digha Nikaya.
And what makes it great for this kind of discussion is the format. It's basically presented as a conversation, a real back and forth between a teacher and his disciple Ananda. Very insightful.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to take these, ancient ideas and just make them clear, give you a path through them. We're going to unpack this intricate web of cause and effect, explore its, honestly, surprising conclusions about the nature of self, and ultimately discover these paths to liberation.
Think of it like a map, really. A detailed map for navigating your own mind.
A very old, very detailed map.
So let's kind of dive into this journey. The Mahānidāna Sutta kicks off with Ananda, the disciple, making this, well, quite striking observation.
Right. It's about this core teaching, dependent origination, or Paṭiccasamuppāda.
And Ananda says it's profound yet, as it were, shallow.
Yeah, it's almost like he's saying, okay, I get the words, but am I missing the depth?
Yeah, I can see that. But the teacher's response is immediate and pretty firm.
Oh, yeah. It underscores just how fundamental this doctrine is. The text says basically that failing to grasp it keeps beings entangled in the tangle of thread, a matted ball of string, like munja grass and pambaca grass.
Wow, that's vivid imagery.
It really is. It paints this picture of being totally stuck, leading inevitably to suffering, the cycle of rebirth. It's a strong warning, like, don't just skim the surface here.
You definitely feel the urgency. So, okay, the text then starts to systematically unpack this chain. Cause and effect. It's not random suffering. There's a sequence. Exactly. And it starts with something undeniable. Aging and death. Jaramarat. And then it works backwards. What's the condition for that?
Right. So what does the text say is the direct cause of aging and death?
It points directly to birth. Jarati.
Birth.
Yeah. It's quite logical, really. If birth didn't happen in any form, human, animal, whatever, then aging and death wouldn't even be perceivable, would they? Birth is the necessary condition.
Makes sense. Okay, so tracing back further, what sets the stage for birth?
Birth arises from existence, or bhava, becoming.
Ava, existence.
And the text clarifies this isn't just one thing. There are three types. Sense sphere existence, that's our everyday world.
Okay.
Then form sphere existence and formless sphere existence. These latter two relate more to refined states, maybe from meditation or other realms described in the cosmology.
For different modes of being, essentially.
Exactly. But the point is, without some kind of existence or becoming happening, birth just wouldn't occur.
Right. So that continuous existence leads to birth, which ends in aging and death. Okay, following the chain back, what's the condition for existence?
Existence is conditioned by clinging, upadana.
Clinging.
And it gets specific again, not just vague attachment. It lists four types. Clinging to sensual pleasures, clinging to wrong views, clinging to rites and rituals, and this is a big one, clinging to the idea of a fixed self, a doctrine of self.
Ah, the self idea again.
Right, and it says, look, if there were no clinging, no grasping onto these things, then this continuous existence wouldn't keep arising.
That really lands. It feels true, doesn't it? Our attachments keep us spinning in these cycles. So what fuels the clinging then?
Clinging is caused directly by craving, atta.
Craving like thirst.
Exactly like thirst. That deep desire for experiences, forms, sounds, smells, tastes, touch, even mental stuff, ideas, thoughts. The text is clear. No craving, no clinging.
Okay, the chain is really building now. So craving, where does that come from?
Craving arises from feeling, vedana.
Feeling. So just sensations.
Pretty much. The pleasant, the unpleasant, or the neutral sensations that pop up constantly from our interaction with the world through the six senses. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind.
Got it. So without feeling those things, the craving wouldn't even have a hook.
Precisely. No basis to arise.
And what conditions that feeling?
Contact, phassa.
Contact.
Simple, right. It's just the point where our senses meet their objects. Eye meets sight, ear meets sound, mind meets thought. The text says if that contact didn't happen, well, feeling wouldn't be experienced, period.
Okay, this is where it gets, well, really intricate. Contact depends on
Name and form. Namarupa.
Name and form. What exactly is that?
It's basically the mind-body complex, the whole shebang. Not just the physical body form, but also the mental components. Name things like perception, feeling itself, intention, consciousness.
So the whole psychophysical organism.
You got it. And the text really emphasizes without this integrated structure, this namarupa, there'd be no basis for contact to even happen, nothing to perceive or interact with.
And then fascinatingly, this name and form, this mind-body unit that depends on consciousness.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the text gives these really stark illustrations. It says, look, if consciousness didn't descend into the mother's womb,
Right.
or if it left the body early on, or if it just ceased in infancy, then name and form, the individual mind-body, just wouldn't develop. Consciousness is vital. It's the spark.
But then, and this is the twist, right? Consciousness itself depends on.
Name and form, yes.
It's back.
It absolutely does. It highlights this crucial reciprocal relationship. The text is very clear. If consciousness had no support in name and form, this whole chain leading to future birth, aging, death, suffering, it wouldn't unfold.
So they depend on each other.
Like two bundles of reeds, the classic image, leaning on each other. Take one away, the other falls, they co-arise.
So it's not just a straight line, A causes B causes C. It's this dynamic cycle. Interconnected, totally. Each link is both a result and a condition for the next. And the text wraps up this part with that powerful line. Thus is the origin of this whole mass of suffering.
Yeah. It really shifts your perspective, seeing how our own suffering isn't just random bad luck, but often part of these predictable patterns.
And what's really useful, I think, is that the text doesn't just stop with that big existential cycle. It then branches out again, also starting from feeling, Vedana,
Okay.
to show another chain, one that leads to more sort of everyday problems, interpersonal conflict, societal issues.
So bringing it down from the cosmic scale to like why we argue.
Pretty much. So feeling, again, leads to craving, standard. But then craving leads to seeking, priyasana. We want something, so we go looking for it.
Makes sense. We seek.
And seeking leads to gain, lava. We find it, we get it.
Okay.
From gain comes ascertainment or decision, viññāṇaṭṭhitiyo. We get something and then we just decide about it. This is good, this is mine, whatever.
Right. We evaluate it.
Right.
And after that decision,
That ascertainment, that decision leads to passionate desire, chanaraga. It ramps up.
okay.
That intense desire then flows into attachment or infatuation, acchasana. We get really hooked.
Yeah, I can see this progression.
From attachment comes possessiveness, paragaha, this is mine. Possessiveness then breeds stinginess, macharya, we don't want to share.
Right. Holding on tight.
And finally, stinginess leads to guarding, protectiveness, araka. We have to defend what's ours.
And the consequences of that guarding, the text spells them out, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Starkly. It says this guarding leads directly to taking up sticks and weapons, quarrels, disputes, arguments, saying you, slander, and false speech.
Wow.
And many other evil, unwholesome states. It's quite the list.
It really is. It's this incredibly detailed path from just a simple feeling pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, all the way to conflict, violence, lies.
Exactly. It's a fascinating lens, isn't it? Suggests that so much external conflict, personal fights, maybe even larger societal stuff, has these deep roots in how we internally process feeling and then react with craving, possessiveness.
Yeah, our inner world spilling out.
Yeah.
Okay, so connecting back to the bigger picture, the text then pivots, right? It tackles that huge question, the self, atta. How do we even define it?
It does. And it approaches it by systematically looking at common ways people conceive of a self and then showing why they don't quite work.
How does it lay them out?
It lists 4 main ideas. First, myself has form, it is limited, like I'm this body.
Okay.
Second, myself has form, it is infinite, maybe a vast physical self. Third, myself is formless, it is limited, like a finite soul or mind.
Right.
And fourth, myself is formless, it is infinite, like a boundless consciousness or universal soul.
These sound like ideas you hear in all sorts of philosophies and religions, even today. Variations on these themes.
For sure. But the Mahānidānasuttaṃ basically says, these are all considered wrong views.
Why wrong views?
Because fundamentally, they all involve identifying with something that is itself changing, conditional, impermanent. Whether it's form or formless, limited or infinite as conceived here, you're still clinging to a concept, a condition. And clinging to anything impermanent as self is setting yourself up for suffering when it changes, which it will.
So any fixed definition is inherently flawed because reality isn't fixed.
That's the core idea, and the text gets really specific, drilling down into why identifying feeling as the self doesn't work either.
Back to Vedana. How does it dismantle that idea? It feels quite intuitive sometimes, like I am my feelings.
It does feel intuitive, but the logic is quite clear. First, it reminds us, okay, there are 3 types of feeling: pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. We've covered that.
Right.
Then comes the crucial insight. All feelings, every single one, are impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen, subject to decay, dissolution, dispassion, cessation. They arise, they change, they vanish. Constantly.
So if they're constantly changing.
How can they be a stable, unchanging self?
Exactly. The text points out the logical consequence. If feeling was the self, then when a pleasant feeling ends, would your self end? When an unpleasant one arises, does your self become unpleasant? It leads to absurdities, or this view of the self being annihilated constantly.
Which is problematic.
Very. And it also shoots down the ideas of a non-feeling self, like a self separate from feeling, and even a self that feels, suggesting that's still defining self in relation to feeling. It just systematically closes off all avenues for finding a fixed, permanent I within or connected to our fluctuating experiences.
It really challenges that core assumption we have. So after tearing down these concepts, what's the alternative? What's the liberated view?
Well, the text describes the person, the monk in this context, who does not perceive feeling as self, nor a non-feeling as self, nor a self that feels as self. They just don't identify with any of it.
They let go of that whole framework completely. And because they don't cling to anything in the world, including the idea of a self, they are not agitated. There's no anxiety about protecting or defining this I.
And that leads to...
That leads to personally attaining final nibbana, realizing liberation. The text says, for such a person, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what was to be done has been done, there is no further state of being. It's the end of the cycle, complete freedom.
Wow. That's profound. And it connects, doesn't it, to that really tricky part about what happens to a liberated one, a tathagata, after death.
Yes. That's one of the most maybe mind-bending parts. The text explicitly says you cannot describe a liberated one after death using categories like exists, does not exist, both exists and does not exist, or neither exists nor does not exist.
It's not that we don't know the answer, it's that the question itself is flawed.
That's exactly it. Those descriptions, those categories, belong to the world of designation, description, declaration, wisdom's range, and the cycle of existence. They belong to the conditioned world. The liberated state transcends those concepts entirely. Our language, our dualistic thinking, just can't grasp it.
It pushes us beyond our usual mental boxes. Okay, so the text then broadens out again, outlining various states of consciousness and the paths to liberation. It mentions the 7 stations of consciousness, viññāṇaṭṭhitiyo.
Right. These are basically descriptions of different potential realms or levels of being, different states of consciousness, ranging from the more, let's say, familiar to the very subtle.
Can you give us a quick sense?
Sure. It starts with beings with diverse bodies and diverse perceptions, like us humans, animals. Then it moves through stages like diverse bodies but single perception, or single body but diverse perceptions.
Okay.
And then gets into much more refined non-physical states, like the realm of infinite space, the realm of infinite consciousness, even the realm of nothingness. These often correlate with deep meditative states.
So a kind of map of possible conscious experiences or realms.
Exactly. But the key insight isn't just knowing these stations exist, it's understanding their origin, passing away, gratification, danger, and escape. Realizing they too are conditioned, impermanent, and not the final goal, true wisdom sees through them.
Don't get attached even to these seemingly high states.
Precisely. And beyond those 7, it mentions 2 even more subtle bases.
Yeah, the attanani.
Right. The realm of non-percipient beings, beings without perception, and the realm of neither perception nor non-perception. Extremely subtle states, almost beyond conception.
Okay, so given this whole landscape of consciousness, from the everyday to the incredibly subtle, how does the text describe the absolute pinnacle, the ultimate liberation?
It culminates in what are called the 8 liberations, the vimokkhā.
The 8 liberations.
These are a progressive series of mental attainments. They start with things like perceiving forms internally or externally, then move beyond form into the formless absorptions we mentioned, infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception.
So mastery those states we just talked about.
Mastering them, yes, but then going even further, the 8th liberation is the cessation of perception and feeling. Nirodha Samapatti.
Cessation of perception and feeling. What does that mean?
It's described as a state of profound temporary suspension of all mental processing, all sensing, while awareness somehow remains. It's not unconsciousness or annihilation, but a state beyond all conditioned experience. Very deep.
And the text emphasizes the mastery of these.
Absolutely. It talks about the monk who can enter and emerge from these 8 liberations as and when they wish, as far as they wish. Just complete mastery over the mind.
Incredible control.
And such a monk who has this mastery and has destroyed all the defilements, all the underlying causes of suffering, they are called liberated in both ways. Vipatto bhagavimutto. Liberated through wisdom and through these profound meditative states.
Liberated in both ways.
And the Mahānidānasuttaṃ concludes pretty emphatically, there is no other liberation higher or finer than this liberation in both ways. That's presented as the ultimate achievement, the complete and total freedom.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We went from tracing that really intricate chain of suffering, cause and effect.
Dependent origination.
Then we looked at how that plays out in everyday conflict.
Yeah.
We unpacked the whole idea of self and how fleeting it actually is.
Yeah, challenging that core assumption.
And finally, we explore these profound states of consciousness and the ultimate path to liberation described in the text. It's quite a journey.
It really is. And I think what's so powerful is that these insights, okay, they come from a specific ancient tradition, but they offer these incredibly useful, almost universal tools.
How so?
Well, it's like that map we talked about. It helps us understand the roots of our own experiences, you
Yeah.
know, our desires, our frustrations, the conflicts we see inside ourselves and out in the world. It's a blueprint, really, for navigating the mind, for understanding reality.
It really is. A framework for making sense of things. So just to leave you, our listener, with something to think about, if we take seriously this idea that craving and attachment stemming from feeling often lead to conflict and suffering, what's maybe one small step you could take just in your daily life this week to simply observe, to notice when a feeling arises, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, and just watch what happens next. Watch how it might trigger wanting or pushing away or possessiveness and how that impacts your actions.
Yeah.
Just observe the chain.